Yo, peace was good. Hope all is well with everybody. You guys know what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the massacre that happened over the weekend in Orlando, Florida, which is about 2.5 hours away from where I live over here in West Palm Beach. Um, it's very scary. Just the fact that that shit happened pretty much in my own backyard is kind of scary. It's pretty scary. How it all started was a cat named Omar Martin who lived in Port St. Lucie. He's an Afghan American. Was born in New York. He was raised in Florida in Port St. Lucie. Port St. Lucie is about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away from where I live right now. And he went to Orlando for the weekend, and he ended up, and I guess it was like gay, the LGBT month or whatever. And there's a popular club called Pulse in Orlando, a gay club, gay and lesbian club, nightclub, and he ended up, harming a lot of people. He ended up killing 49 people. He injured like 53 people. So a lot of people got hurt. So I just want to say, I want to send my condolences to the friends and families of those that lost a loved one in that particular night. My condolences to you, to the friends and family of that. And but he was killed, so justice was definitely served. He was killed. He was killed in the shootout with the cops. The cops killed him, so that was a good thing. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is I want to get things off my chest, and there's a lot of like trends. What I like to call trends, that anything like this happens, genocide, especially when it comes to genocide, I start seeing people's true colors. Not only that, but like people's ignorance towards certain things. Um, well, the thing with Omar Martin, with him, he was actually, he worked for Wackenhut. Wackenhut is a security firm. Is considered the best. Well, Wackenhut slash G4S is considered the best security firm in the world. Like it's all over the world. They got like over it's they're based all in like over 100 countries and shit like that. So yeah, so to get a job in Wackenhut or G4S is very hard. You know what I mean? But what kills me is that how the fuck was he able to get a job in that? But and because you're supposed to go through several background tests to get to, so you have to have a squeaky clean record, no criminal records, any of that shit. Um, that's what kind of bothers me. Also, I'm starting to see people saying like, because he was of Muslim faith, and that because he was of Muslim faith is the reason why he's called a terrorist. And supposedly he was part of ISIS. He pledged his allegiance to ISIS and stuff like that. So with everything, anytime a Muslim, a radical Muslim, or whatever, people of that region start killing people, doing genocide, he or she's considered a terrorist just because of them being of Muslim faith or being of that region. And this is why a lot of Americans, I hate to say, are very ignorant when it comes to shit like that. Well, first of all, you need to know what a terrorist is. The word terror is the definition of terror is to inflict fear on people. It's not just because he's Muslim or he's people of Arab descent or people of Indian descent. Just because of that, they're from that region, they're a terrorist. Terrorists inflict people on others, inflict fear and harm on others. You know what I mean? And yeah, obviously he's a terrorist, but so is a whole bunch of other people. And we gotta stop this whole shit about, because he killed gay people, gay and lesbians, that it's a hate crime. Any crime that you inflict on others is a hate crime. Obviously, you killed somebody because you don't like that person, you hate that person. That's a hate crime. And that goes for when a white cop kills a black person is a hate crime, or A a white supremacist kills a Jewish person, is a hate crime. Every type of murder is a hate crime. We need to stop this whole. It's like the problem with this country. I feel is that we have a selective love when it comes to certain things, certain cultures, certain groups of people. Like I'm seeing on Facebook, having like they having like the filters on their profile pictures, like I am Orlando with the gay flag and whatever, and like it's so ignorant, to me. Yeah, it to me is ignorant because it's like, yo, like you should do that for everybody, not just what's happening in Orlando. Look what's happening in Chicago. As of this month, from January all the way up to this month, 278 people were killed. And that's including babies, little kids, grown ass men, women, children. I mean, this shit gotta stop. And then in the problem, another thing too is like we always label people, like, and I'll get back to the whole terrorist thing. Like for example, like if a white person was to commit a genocide or whatever, oh he was mentally ill. If it was a black person, oh he was part of a drug gang. He's a part of a gang. Oh it's gang related, drug gang related. If it's somebody of a Muslim of an Arab region, oh he's a terrorist. We gotta stop that. It's very ignorant. It's sad. It's pathetic, and we should be better than that. You know what I mean? Now, terrorists, like I said, inflicts fear and harm on people. A rapist is to me is a terrorist. Corrupt cops that kill unarmed people is a terrorist. Even if you don't kill anybody, even if the cop didn't kill anybody, just like harassing people, pulling people over, trying to scare people and shit, like to me is a terrorist. Drug dealers that kill other people, other drug dealers and killing innocent people are terrorists. You know what I mean? And we need to stop the whole labeling shit. You know what I mean? And like I said, getting back to Chicago, 278 people, and that's here in America, and I don't see no type of help or any type of protest. I mean, yeah, there are protests, but it's not as big. But it's just because Chicago is a predominantly black city, but it's not just black. But you have like a big Polish, Irish, Italian, Mexican, population out there in Chicago. But just the fact that it's happening in the United States, just because of that particular area, is like, oh, it's okay. This is a drug related. That's not our problem, and things like that. And we gotta stop that. People are people. And the whole point is what I'm trying to say is that that the shit that happened in Orlando is people who got hurt, people that got killed. Somebody's mom, somebody's daughter, somebody's son, somebody's cousin, somebody's best friend, somebody's grandson got killed that night. That's what we need to realize. You see what I'm saying? This shit kind of reminds me of when, and that's another thing I'm gonna bring up is the whole love. Oh, I love you. Like I'm seeing people on Facebook saying, oh man, like this thing that happened in Orlando, I just want to tell you guys I love you, blah blah blah. To me, I fucking hate when people do that shit. It kind of reminds me of when 9/11 happened back in 2001. I was still living in New York. The high school I went to in Queens was called Thomas Edison High School on Hillside Avenue, and in that particular neighborhood, there there's a big Muslim, Indian, people of like Southwest Asia, the Middle East live out there, meaning people from like Syria, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, several countries from the Middle East, even people from like Guyana, Barbados, Trinidad, and shit like that. Like the Indians from those countries out in the West Indies, people live in that particular neighborhood. So the school I went to was half of the population of that school was made of people of those regions with that same skin tone. And so I remember when 9/11 happened, I remember the next day half the school was empty because that school was made of people of those regions, even though they had nothing to do with it, but just because of people's prejudice and anger towards what happened in 9/11, I remember seeing people getting jumped, like of people like trying to fight people because of what happened, and we gotta stop that. That's so ignorant. We gotta do better as people. Um, and I remember for 3 weeks in New York, people was like very embracive. People was like, "Oh, I love you, my brother," and people like hanging American flags and all that shit in their cars and their offices and shit like at their houses and stuff like that. And after 3 weeks, that shit went away. It was like, oh, it went back to normal. People would be assholes and stuff like that. And it's just like it really pisses me off, man. That we gotta stop that. You know what I mean? So let me see what someone got left. Yeah. So like I said, this is not to discredit what happens to Orlando, but but we have to stop that. It's yeah, obviously it's a hate crime, but every type of crime that happens to other people, whether it's murder or rape, is a hate crime. Because obviously if you inflict somebody on somebody, obviously you don't like the person. Oh, I love you, pow. Like no, like you don't love that person. You hate that person. So that's that. We need to start thinking how we talk. Another thing too, like in New York, I remember back in the '90s, New York was very dangerous. You know, murders was just like Chicago. How Chicago is now is how New York used to be in the '80s and '90s, as far as murders. You know what I mean? But again, because of that area, oh, that's drug related. That's not our problem. But it actually is your problem because it's part of your city, and your taxes is paying for that shit too. So we gotta fight that. And my thing is, man, just stay positive. Just think before you talk. You know what I mean? And I know, I try not to get into these debates on Facebook, so I just rather just post it on on here on YouTube and things like that. But just stay positive. Just be careful. If you see somebody, unfortunately, you know, when you go out, just let certain things slide. If somebody bump into you, don't get into people's faces. Just walk away. Let that person be that ignorant dude. You know what I mean? It's not worth losing your life. It's not being a pussy or being a punk. It's just you. Trying to save your life because a lot of people have paper thin skin, very sensitive. People let things get to them. You know what I mean? And this dude Omar Martin, he was an unstable dude. Like his ex-wife, saying he was not stable. He was always an angry dude. He was a very abusive dude towards her and things like that. Um, and him killing those gay people have nothing to do with his religion, his faith. From what I read was that he went to I think Miami and I think South Beach a couple of months ago. He saw two gay dudes kissing, two guys kissing, and it really pissed him off. You know what I mean? So obviously, his prejudice towards gays, definitely reflected the crime that he did over the weekend. So, but I just want to say, like I said, the word terrorist does not only inflict on people of Muslim faith. It's everybody. It goes from murderers, killers, crooked cops, people that commit genocide, things like that. Timothy McVeigh that did the Oklahoma bombing, he's a terrorist. The KKK, they're terrorists. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, folks. That's my thoughts on that. Rest in peace to the people that lost a loved one over the weekend. My condolences to them. Um, Love you guys. Be easy. Stay positive, and live life. Peace.